My live button looks like we are live. Okay, square up there. Here we go. Well, it's a little weird. Everything's always different every time. Okay, framed up. I don't know, I'm very particular when it comes to... Oh, my screen went dead. I love that. There we go. Everything working in harmony. That's what we like. Play. You wanna play? No? Alright, maybe not. Okay. So, it's good to be back. We had a little bit of a hiatus there with the extra week in last month, and what's going on here? I love it when things don't work. That's my favorite, when the things are not working. Oh, okay. There, I can see me looking at me. Cool. Cool. All right. So yeah, there was a little bit of a space, and I didn't want to go right back on at the end of the month because I like to keep this, first Thursday of the month pretty consistently. And then I have my other series, The Million Movie Project Presents, which I do the third Thursday of the month. So I wanted to try to keep on schedule, but it was pretty cool because it gave me a little bit of extra time to keep working on my book, and I've been hitting it really hard and trying to get as much done as I possibly can as fast as I can. And if you have seen any of my posts recently on pretty much any of my social media, I've got a lot of really neat news to share. I'm super excited. There's a lot going on. So I probably am going to end up talking a lot like I've had a lot of coffee, but I have not. It's just got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm going to try not to go on forever and ever and ever. My other episodes, or my Million Movie Project episodes, tend to go on for really long, and I never intend them to. I'm like, okay, I'm going to say what I need to say in like 45 minutes, and then like an hour and 45 minutes later, yeah, I still haven't said it. So, okay. So, good news. Lots of good news. The first bit of news, side news a little bit, is that the my film, my Buster Keaton film, Oh Buster, Where Art Thou, which is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel for free for anybody to watch. That went about... What month is this? It's April now. Okay, so back right about the same time in February. I'm not good with time. It's kind of a forward concept. But in about this time in February, I whatever episode I had at that time, I was able to announce that it had surpassed 1,000 views. And this morning I checked it, and it was almost about to surpass 4,000 views. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's really excellent, but I couldn't do it without, all of you fans, which is what I, try and do this stuff for. And I'm really glad to have been able to share it. The reviews of it have been positive, a lot of positive feedback, and that I really appreciate. And as a creator, you love that kind of thing. When you make things, it's not going to be for everybody. And but you're really happy when it's for most of everybody. So that's been pretty cool. So thank you to everybody who's watched and shared. And if you've got Buster friends who haven't seen it and people are new to Buster, make sure to share it. That's what it's there for. So everybody can get the chance to enjoy it who would want to enjoy it. And I've seen a little bit of ebb and flow over the years. I've been doing this for about 13 years now. But sometimes Buster's like super popular, sometimes a little less popular, but not like forgotten about really. But I think we're kind of in an upswing again right now. And I just want to make sure that anybody who wants to see it gets to see it. So that's why it's there. So sharesy. So thank you to everybody who has made that possible. Really appreciate you. So, okay. If you've been keeping score at home and watching these videos as I've been making them, stop doing that. Then you have heard me talk about my book and the kind of the up and downs of making it and working on it. I've been working on it for about 5 years now, which was much more than intended because the entire process has been completely new to me. I write all kinds of other genres, but in fiction and historical fiction, yeah, where you can look something up and get the information and research it and stuff and kind of mold your story around real events or realistic things. But I've never had to stick to such a rigid script, I guess, of events before. So it's been a very new, very time consuming, very difficult experience that's very much outside of the norm for me. So it's taken a lot of time, and then of course, you've heard me talk about that I had to restart the project ultimately after um some situation arose about getting, being fed some false information. But I don't need to get into all that now. You can check out my past episodes for all the details of that. But I bring it up because I just wanted to give a little bit of a recap for anybody who might not have seen all the other videos. This is episode 6 of Meanwhile Back at the Ranch. So if you don't want to sit and listen to me talk for that much, just a quick recap on what it is, as I said, I'm a fiction writer. So writing something completely true to life was very different for me, and not something that I anticipated when I initially came up with the idea and went forward with it. Because I knew I didn't want to write a bullet point biography, even if it was going to be from a different angle, Buster and the people in his orbit. I didn't want it to, there's plenty of those things out there, even if they didn't exactly cover what I wanted to cover. That just wasn't my style. I come from, years and decades at this point of fiction writing. So what the story is, which I announced in my last episode, will be called Another New World, which reflects Buster's transition from, all these different, being at the forefront of all of these different entertainment mediums and being an innovator. What that ultimately became is I took those data points that you get in your bullet point biography, and I combined it with my fiction writing sensibility so that I was able to create a kind of a hybrid to immerse you into the Keaton world experience that covers ish the last 20 years of his life, and the people therein. So that's what it's about. That's what the whole thing is, and that may have been more difficult overall. When it came to, it might have been easier to write the bullet point biography, but like I said, that there's a lot of those out there, and I really wanted to do something that not only made you feel like it doesn't, it's not a sequel to the movie, but it follows in the footsteps of the movie in the way that it humanizes them, and it's not just like he were there and they were there and then they did this and then they did this and he had a brother and that kind of stuff. It really takes all these people and looks at who they are as people and how they walked through these these years together. And it really brings the some of the others into the forefront in Buster's orbit, people that have never been talked about before, and that you don't really you hear a mention of in the biographies, but you don't really get to experience what they're like as people and how they all melded together. They he and his family and his friends and everyone were very close together in life. So that is something that is never been done before, and I'm excited to bring it to an audience, and also at this point that I've been talking about it for 5 years, saying it's a coming. Well, it is a coming, because that's one of many things that I've got some exciting news about today. But I need to kind of, before I jump into that and get ahead of myself, I got in my notes and like arrows and circles and glossy photographs with a paragraph on the back each one. But what I basically need to say is I need to actually kind of retract something that I said in my last episode, which was that, well, I guess not retract. Let's just say I have evolved away from. Thank you. The thing that I'm doing here is, in all of this, obviously you want to be able to make something. Whoops. Wrong button. That you want to make something for people to enjoy, and also when it's got to do with real life people, something informative and reliable. So I thought, and I talked about this in my last episode, I thought that the best way to do that would be to say, I wasn't able to do this by myself necessarily. I had to have a lot of people that I consulted with. There's just been a numerous amount of people who have I've interviewed over the years, who have, maybe just other researchers who I, ran something by, more people than I am able to list. Some people even have passed away, So, this has been even before I started writing, it's been a very, very long research process, gathering these data points, learning about things, uncovering things, going to archives, going to libraries, doing all of these things, really, really putting the work in to make a full picture. And I did that for the movie, and I did that for this book. So I thought that in that I had looked to others to consult with, to talk about, to learn from, that it seemed like it was a way of saying, like, okay, well, I don't know everything, and it's important for me to acknowledge that I don't know everything. So it would probably be best to try to look into going forward traditional publishing, meaning, like, you go through an agent and a publisher, and then they put it on the bookshelves for you. And because I figured, well, it seems to me that, because I've been going back and forth between traditional and self-publishing. I have a self-published book. Pew 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 pew. Because a few years ago, it just started, and I was curious about the process. So I, checked that out, and so I've already been through all of that. I know what that's like. I never bothered to really get into any kind of PR for it or anything. I just wanted to know what it was like, if that was a viable type of a thing. And then I kind of, didn't deeply research it as a medium, but saw that it was becoming more and more popular with people over time, whether it was just like, for small projects, for really big projects, that kind of a thing. And to me, it seemed like for this project that I put so much into, it probably seemed best to look into getting, a representation, and going through a publisher, and going that way, because it seemed like, you'd want an industry professional or several of them to help you. And that's what I talk about in my last episode, that I was going to pursue traditional publishing, even though it was going to take a lot longer and be a lot more iffy about where the future would take it and how long it would take for anything like that to work out. But since then, because again, some time has passed, like, an extra week here, like 5 weeks. So since then, what I've ultimately figured out is that traditional publishing is really good for people who are celebrities, for sports people, for murderers, for anybody with, a good amount of already pre-existing notoriety who want to, put out their memoir or something like this, or and then they make these, multi-million-dollar contracts, and that's where that is. People who really don't necessarily do their own writing, or just have a lot, already going on in their orbit, so that people know about them, right? So the reason that self-publishing has become so popular is because you can be someone who can come from any background, who just does the work, and if you know what to do, and get involved, and it's actually kind of overtaking the traditional publishing industry. So I decided, okay, I'm going to really research this. I'm going to figure this out. And I kind of did the whole compare and contrast thing. And what it turns out is that what I believed traditional publishing to be is really more along the lines of self-publishing, because it's not really that helpful if you're someone who is not a celebrity, basically, or a sports star or something like this. So and it went so far as to, like, if you lay them against each other, what you can gain, what you can, from each one. But the issue is that issues that I ultimately kept coming up again over and over and over again is that the benefit of self-publishing is, well, obviously you can control the timetable. Like, if I say, like, I want it to come out, next week, it can. It's not, but I could do that. But the back and forth of it is that if I say I got, a publisher interested, and they, and I wanted to go forward with them, I sign an agreement that essentially I sell the rights to the book. And being of no great persuasion, I would basically get nothing for that sale, less than $10,000 at best, to sell the whole rights off to the book, and a very, very small percentage of royalties, which means total off of copies sold, right? And then they would own the book. They had bought it from me. So that means also that they could make any change that they wanted to anywhere, anything that, and that they didn't like or wanted to be more interesting or more different or more sensationalized, absolutely within their purview to change, they could do. So and on top of that, I would still have to do my own public relations. I'd still have to do my own promotions, whether it was self-published or traditionally published. I'd still be in charge of that. And it's just kind of a mess. So I'm just kind of running down the bullet points here, because I was actually pretty surprised at how not good traditional publishing is for people who are not in that celebrity status realm. But ultimately, it also would come down to, like, I would have to do all my own work anyways. I wouldn't make any money off of it because I don't really have that name recognition. I wouldn't be able to control what they did to it ultimately. And they could also change anything down the road as well. So, and I'm not, saying, I said this before, the book, I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's boring, it's just about people. I don't think it's boring, but it's not. There are no car chases, you understand? Like, there's no craziness going on. It's true to form, as possible as I could make it. And if they thought that was boring or wasn't going to sell or wasn't sensational enough, they could literally do anything they wanted to at any point, in any way, full control over it. I have no say so. And I wouldn't be able to make the argument that I could. So that you say I wouldn't be able to put into a contract, like, you can't change it after I said, don't change it. No, absolutely 100% could. But the benefit of self-publishing is that you have the exact opposite of all of that stuff going on. And if I have to do my own promotions and public relations and stuff anyways, you can control when it comes out. You can control later editions. You hold your own rights to the book, most importantly, and you get to do all these really bypass directly to the audience type of things that you can't do with traditional publishing, because they can also decide, like, well, we're going to shelf it and we'll decide when we're going to release it whenever. And there is also no guarantee in there that you will be able to write your next, the sponsor your next book and buy that from you. And you're really operating at a loss. And I think the worst part of the whole thing for both audience and creator is that I would be selling something that I worked on tirelessly for a very low amount of money, lose all the control over it, and ultimately be enriching a corporation. And if you, as the audience who wanted to purchase that, would also ultimately be enriching a corporation. So I hate corporations, so I can't let that happen. And I need to, as I've been talking with all of you all this time and sharing all these details with you, I need to be able to continue to maintain that connection with the audience, which self-publishing will allow me to do. So basically, for every bad thing that traditional publishing is for a person like me, writing a historical book without, celebrity status, self-publishing makes up for that. And the reason why people might not necessarily want to go self-publish route is because, now you are responsible for everything yourself. So a lot of writers aren't also editors, and I am. And a lot of writers aren't also artists, and I am. And a lot of writers aren't also graphic designers, and I am. So I could do my own editing. I could, you wouldn't have to pay people to do these things. And I could do my own editing. I can do my own artwork. I could do my own graphic design. And the artwork, which you've probably seen on my socials, is the painting of Buster that I did, where his, fades from older to younger. And that will be ultimately used in some way as my cover art. Which again, could have, if it's traditional, then that might not be in their purview to use any of that. So But if I have all these abilities to do these different things and bring them together into one thing, which was, my original concept, then I wanted to do that. And I can't, in good conscience, give away for a few $1,000s something that I've worked so hard on maintaining the integrity of. That's the main thing, because I have done all of these things and worked really hard on trying to catch you to mistakes and making sure that, like, where the data that I'm pulling is really accurate, and I could maybe back up in a few places in a few different ways. Just trying to be as accurate as possible, because I have to, for what I have to suppose, I need to be able to back up in data. And what I mean by that is that because it's written in a fictional structure, and it's called in a format that's called not a nonfiction novel, I have to say that they said stuff that I couldn't necessarily know that they said, and that's comes from the research. I have to make these people as three-dimensional and realistic as and true to form as I possibly can, while making them say things that reflect what was going on in their lives. So when I say that they said something in a private conversation, which of course no one could really know at this point, yeah, I do have to make that supposition. I do have to think like, okay, well, what would they say? How would they act? What were they feeling about this? What are they going through? What do they sound like when they talk? What do they sound like to their family versus what do they sound like to somebody in a job interview? You have to think about things like that if you're going to go this very, very peculiar route of fact meets fiction. So, what I have to make up, I have to back up in research, and I have to back up in what I've been told through interviews, and what I was been told through interviews, and then also was able to confirm through research and things. So I think maybe the worst thing I could do by pursuing traditional publishing would be to just give people, whoever, carte blanche to change all that. Because that would, it's almost nightmarish to me to think about the loss of integrity there. Because these corporations, I'm not saying that they're necessarily all like gonna lie or make things up or put the car chase in where there wasn't one, but they exist to make money. They're not there to necessarily tell the truth. They're not there to necessarily be believable, but they are there to sell copy. No matter what it is, by who it is, it really doesn't matter. And the idea to me, like, it's kind of like one of those cold sweat things. The idea of just saying, okay, I'll take my couple $1,000s, do what you will, but it still has my name on it, is just, I can't even think about that. I can't. So, there's kind of a stigma around self-publishing, because anybody can do it, right? Anybody out there can do it. So all the tools exist for everybody the same ways, but that's a good thing because it's very a level playing field that way, right? But we also live in a time where that's possible, where it never was before. So I'm not beholden to these, chain of people making decisions about my work, making decisions about me, and potentially changing very vital information to be maybe more interesting or exciting or what have you, but keeping my name on it. But instead, what I can do now is I can get it right out to the audience, to all of you. I can control exactly what's in it. So the onus is on me if I've made a mistake, you can, and it makes this like really direct link between me, the content, the audience, the research, and it's very cyclical in that way because of this now leveled playing field. So instead of going the route of the what if, maybe I should trust people. Maybe I should trust this corporation because they've said, okay, we'll take it. It's really easy to kind of fall down that rabbit hole, I guess, and think that like, oh, well, this means my career is off to a good start. And I said before, I've never earnestly been able to pursue a writing career because I've done so many other things. I've never been able to be, like, sit down and be like, writing is my main thing all the time. You know, my mind just doesn't work that way. I'm too all over the place. I got to see if I can do this. And that's where the artwork comes from. And that's where the design stuff comes from. And that's where the writing comes from. It all comes from, and then the craftsperson stuff, the soaps and things that I make. So it all comes from the same place creatively, but in the movies, you know, but I've never been able to just be like, okay, I'm just going to do this one thing and this one thing only. But now that I did know that I ultimately always did want to pursue a writing career. But it's just that, you know, I had to do all these other things and then get myself into a position where it's like time to work on that. And then that's why I published my first book. But then this one ended up taking a lot longer than I had anticipated. But I think it's going to be really worth it. That's the big thing. So I feel like, since I've been upfront and honest about everything, that like, yes, I do have to inject some degree of supposition and I guess you would say take the fiction plus the data, that and tried to be as forthright about it all, and tried to let you know that I have worked really hard to be as realistic as possible with all of this and reliable, that if I didn't do it this way, it would be very disingenuous of me to have said all of that stuff. So the stigma around it is sort of, that means it's maybe not as professional or not as recognized or not as important as traditional publishing. But from my research, I find that not to be true. And I think what impressions and judgment are really not important when you are able to so directly connect with an audience and give them something that you promised you were going to give them. And that really matters to me a lot. And also, I feel like if you know, if I were a consumer of this product, or you know, any kind of literary product that was self-published versus traditional published, first of all, I wouldn't notice. Second of all, I would. It's almost like supporting independent artists, or you know, buying, you know, from the local fruit stand instead of the grocery store, right? Because you get to give you as the creator, you are able to take much more of the royalties directly. So, you know, so I would want the creator to I would want to give my money primarily to the creator, right? And I think that that's the same with probably anybody purchasing books or you know, publications of any kind like that. Like, if you want somebody's content, you want to help support them, and you want to help them keep the lights on so they can keep doing things like this, you know. And I said before, I've got lots of stuff in the works, Buster stuff and non-Buster stuff, and I'm really anchoring things now and gearing things towards having a more dedicated library of literary works. So when we, you know, when I put this book out, and you're able to buy it, most of the money that you pay for it, and again, I can't give you a price right now, but it will absolutely be reasonable, because that's, you know, there's no reason to gouge. But when I make this available to you, most of what you pay for it will go to me. So that helps me in the long run as the artist. And we all know the struggling artist trope, but it's real. You know, the struggle is absolutely real. It is hard to make a living as an artist and a writer, and a, you know, unless you, again, already are a, you know, a celebrity or something like that. So being able to do all the things that I can do and putting them all together in one project will ultimately, I mean, this is the bottom line. Ultimately, I can put all that together and give you what I said I was going to give you on the timeline that I said I was going to give it, and which up to now, here's a new announcement, up to now, I was not able to tell you exactly when it was going to come out, but now I can, because I have made this decision. So since I'm going the self-publishing route, and I'm guessing that will be through Amazon, since I've already done it once, and it worked out pretty well. you want to go ahead and mark your calendars. The release date for the book will be Saturday, November 25th of this year. And I know it sounds like it's a long time away still. For me, it may as well be tomorrow for all the stuff that I still have to finish. But I wanted to be available for the holiday season, and that's also on the day after Black Friday, and it's called Small Business Saturday. So I thought it was kind of, you know, all right, that kind of a thing. We can meld the two things where you can support my work and as a small business, and potentially buy gifts or things for your Buster loving friends or yourself. I don't need to tell you how to buy presents, but you know what's going on. So that's what's going on. I am gonna put it forward myself to maintain honesty, integrity, and me get paid instead of a corporation get paid. And I'm gonna be able to, unless something changes, because it is a little bit away, and I will keep you updated if there is any kind of change or something that happens and I have to push it back for some reason, but I don't think I will. So it will be available through Amazon, unless a problem, but I don't foresee a problem. Saturday, November 25th, 2023, this year. So I can finally put a date on it. And I'm really excited about that because I know I've been the whole time being like, yeah, it's upcoming. Okay, enough with the upcoming. Okay. So it is upcoming, but to a point. So that's where we are. And I'm super excited to be able to finally bring it to you, and not everybody not have to wait forever, and me not know when it's going to come out, and all of that be in the hands of who knows. So now that it's under my control, and also, I'm an independent filmmaker and an independent artist. I always have been. I've never had any kind of sponsorship, really, of any kind, that I could name. I mean, I won a grant, the Buster Keaton Society grant one year for the film. So if you want to consider that sponsorship, but that is it. I never had a benefactor. I never really had anybody to say like, here, just take, like a patron. I don't even have a Patreon or anything like that, like on a website. So I've done everything myself. I've always done it myself because I'm not connected to anybody. I don't have money. I don't have any of the things that, a lot of the people have that gets them started in these industries. Plus also being, so like all over the place in the things that I'm doing. So it's always been up to me to figure it out ever since I was very young. I started my production company, Polyester Cowboy Productions, in 2005. It's been a while, and I was like 20 years old when I started that. So I never had the benefit that some others do have. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't have any connections to anybody or any real help to do anything. So if I wanted to do something, I had to figure it out myself. And I just kind of got to thinking, why would I want to get away from that? That's what I know. Why would I want to put my trust into the hands of people I don't know? And why would I want to sell it, basically the lowest bid, so if a couple of companies, involved or, something like that, it gave me the willies, really. I mean, it just was like, oh my God, why would I want to do that? I just had kind of had them backwards in my mind is really what it comes down to. So, with all that being said, I'm now going to be able to deliver the product that I said I was going to deliver, that I've been talking about this whole time. I'm going to be able to deliver it to you Saturday, November 25th of this year. And I'm super, super, super excited to finally get, to put the period on the end of that sentence after all of this time. And, the ups and downs that I've experienced with it, how it's been very difficult for me in a creative way. It's been difficult for me in a personal way, which you can hear about in some of my other episodes. But that all being said, I'm super excited to be able to give you somebody says it sounds like the best way to go, and I feel like that's the truth. Not only have I done it before and I know about the process, the integrity, and the buck stops with me. Let me say it that way. I can maintain the integrity that I've promised you, and I can put out the product that I've made that's unmanipulated in any way, where I've got everything going on kind of under my own production umbrella that I've always worked up to this point. And that for me is super exciting, and I'm super glad that I finally get to do. Let me check my notes. I'm checking my notes. Let's see, because I think I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover, because I was so concerned. Oh, yes. A couple more things of note. I was so concerned about, like, what would I be doing? Like, that's no way to start a new industry, it's to just give up what you've done. It's horrible. It's a horrible idea, I think. And I personally don't see a stigma around self-publishing. I feel like it's actually wonderful, because it gives people the opportunity to not have to be subject to those kinds of things. So you will be able to purchase this book soon. Soonish. So that being said, though, the this is something I'm still kind of trying to figure out, so you guys can maybe give me some feedback on what you think about this. Is I've never really made much of my social media. I've been very busy, and I'm not very, like, hey guys, it's not really my thing. So in order to get the word out that the book is coming, I'm thinking about maybe and again, some feedback is cool, forming like a ground team of like anybody who would be interested in maybe directing people to my socials to follow, so I can get, they get the updates, sharing the news and like other forums and groups and things like that about the book and the release and what it's about, and that if anybody would be interested in kind of joining up and saying like, oh yeah, I would like to help with promotions, I would like to help do that kind of thing, then I can probably, and again, this is still kind of in the works here. I'm gonna, run this around in my head a little bit more and see what the feel of it is. But if you'd like to like join up and be like kind of a consistent member of the ground team, where you share the information and you talk about it and this, that, and the other, then I think like, and it ultimately results in like, a lot of follows or a lot of interest in it and whatnot, then maybe you can I can get you a free copy or something like that. But we kind of have to work that out, play it by ear a little bit. If you were part of the I guess release of the film, I made a like a countdown, like Facebook page group type thing about when it was going to happen, so people could talk there, and I'll do that again, where I can give updates, people can talk, and this kind of thing, and we can kind of count it down, and I can answer questions, and I could share some interesting stuff maybe. So we'll do that again. But like, if you are somebody who wants to help get the word out about some new Buster stuff coming out, that would be really cool. And I definitely could use the help, especially, I mean, the task, when I was like, almost like, oh, I need to go hide under the bed when I thought of that date, because it's like, how are you, it's 8 months away, but it's like, how are you going to be ready? How could you ever be ready? And I've got so much to do. It's so much, so many. I can do it. It's just that, I got to work really hard, really fast to get the finishing stuff done, and everything put together, and get it, a listing on Goodreads, and do these promotions and all kinds of stuff like that, and talk to anybody who wants me to talk to them. And I've been asked about some interviews and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So anybody who, any Buster loving people out there, and I know there's, I'm very proud to be part of the Buster community. You guys are really great. I'd be hard pressed to find Buster fans who aren't, really good people. And I always appreciated that. Not a lot of discourse, not a lot of anger or unnecessarily, and a lot of very intelligent, insightful people, which I've always appreciated, getting to be part of that. So if any of you want to join what we'll call the ground crew for right now, and help do it with promotions, definitely that would help me. and ultimately help the Buster cause and help me be able to make more Buster content down the line, which I know I've talked about a little bit, but I've got, you know, a book of artwork and like that I'll to assemble the stuff that I've already done and plus make new. And I've got a kind of a secret project in the works, and like a Keaton family cookbook that I'm, you know, that's in the pipeline. Um, not going to come out like right away, but you know, now that I have control over those things, it's, let's say it's sooner rather than later. So that'll be really excellent, I think. One of the big things I'm still working on right now is, you know, doing some final editing, making sure it's tip top as much as I can get it. And that it's that I'm conveying the messages and the voice and the tone that I want to. And I'm, you know, I feel pretty confident already. I'm not really second guessing myself about data points or that kind of thing, because I've gone over it so many times in that regard. And this whole process has been completely different and new for me. So I feel good about that. You know, of course, maybe it won't be perfect. Yes, I will. I was just asked if I will be making a group page or for the book. I will at least be making like a event page. That's what I was trying to think of. I did an event page for the movie. I will at least be doing an event page on Facebook for it. I don't yet know if I will be making like an independent, like my work group, you know, like where people can talk about. I don't know if we're on that level yet, but I will be making an event page. So again, with the whole ground team thing, like you know, if you can kind of funnel people in, if you can get people in the loop, and if I can see, you know, the tangibility of that, then you know, maybe I can get some free copies to some people that can really significantly help me with that. Because I've got so much to do. I just don't have the time to sit and network and chat people up as much as I would like to. So I would love it if you know, you could refer people to my socials. You know, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok for however long that exists, and I'm on here. So and I try to cover things as best as I can consistently, but it's not something that I'm really able to be like, hey guys, what's going on? You know, I'd like to be more sociable, but I just don't have the time. So if you guys if you all want to, you know, anybody wants to help out with that, I would love that. That would be really, really helpful. And I'll make it worth your while, I think. And one of the last big jobs I'm doing with it is photo work. And I haven't made final decisions yet on what photos I'm including. But because I've got so many. And I mean, we're 13 years of research here. I've got so many photos from so many things, and I've got to decide. I can't use them all, right? I mean, I've got thousands of photos. And I want to make sure that I include, some of them it won't be any, like, you know, the standard portraits that everybody's seen a million times. It will be things that are either rare and unpublished, I should say. And they will all be restored by me. That's another thing I can do myself. And you know, have some neat little things, surprises about them. So it's going to be a new experience for you to be able to see all of that. The only thing is I really haven't made the final decisions about what is going to be there. I have to, you know, make sure all the restoration work is done. And again, I've talked about this before. I'm kind of on, other than having to work on all of this at this time, my computer screen is messed up, so I haven't been able to really engage in as much art stuff. So I kind of have to work around that to finish any kind of restorative work or anything, you know, of that nature. So that's kind of my biggest hurdle right now. It'll take a good bit of time to get finished. So, again, if anybody who wants to help out with PR, I would definitely appreciate it. And I love the idea of getting to share Buster stuff with Buster fans. So, and I know not everybody knows what I'm doing, and not everybody's seen it. So the more you can kind of get the word out there for me, I think the better we would all be for it, because then I can, you know, I can keep making the things, and I could potentially gift you a copy of the book. Again, no info about pre-sales or how much it will cost just yet. But let's just say it won't be absorbent. It won't be insane. It's going to be reasonable. I want people to be able to afford it. I don't want to gatekeep it. Um, I can't give it away like the movie, but I need to make some money off of this. But I want it to be something that is accessible. And I'm probably going to go through, since I've done it before, Amazon publishing, which means that, being that's the biggest marketplace in the world, everybody should basically have access to it through there. But as we get a little bit closer, I'll have more specific info about the where's, the what's, the when's, the how's, and that kind of thing. Right now we're just at the announcement stage, and I'm at the panic stage of trying to figure out how I'm going to fit it all in and make it all work, and give you guys something that you can really sink your teeth into, and have an experience in the world of Keaton, and that has not been done before. So I'm really looking forward to taking the reins and keeping it under my control, and giving you what I said I was going to give you. And I'm super, super excited about that, and I'm super, super nervous about it as well. But that is actually, I can't believe it. I was able to get through all of the information as fast as I did in 46 whole minutes. So that's where we are. That's what I have to tell you. Saturday, November 25th, Small Business Saturday of this year, is my a release date. We'll say tentative because it's so long from now, just in case something happens. I'll keep you well in advance if there's any kind of issue. But that's when it's going to be available. That's when it's going to be finished. That's when I need to get all of the edits and the photos and the arrangements and the covers and the promotions all done by then. If you if you want to get involved in helping me promote in a kind of a more official capacity, less like just shout out to me, get me on my socials. I put all my links in every video so that you can follow me anywhere you want to follow me. Subbing here is always a good idea. I put up regular updates on my Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, that kind of a thing. So that's where we are, and I'm super juiced, so thank you for joining me here, and I will see you again next month with probably some more information. Probably by then I'll be really going insane with how hard and fast I've had to do this finishing work, because when I was doing all of this before I had made the decision of when to release, I wasn't really thinking in terms of deadlines. I don't really have a problem with deadlines, but I just really didn't have one in mind, and now I do. So I've got my work cut out for me for sure. I am at the end of the process, but how could you ever really be done? So just be patient, stand by. Next 2 Thursdays from now will be another a new episode of Million Movie Project Presents, and it will be my first Bonanza show. If you recall in some of my previous episodes, this whole thing, this and that, was all meant to be a Bonanza, pre-recorded Bonanza podcast, and it is not. So going live after the movie and splitting off into 2 different shows that look exactly the same as this got a little bit weird. So the Million Movie Project stuff is about TV, movie stuff, not always just reviews, but history and different topics and things like that, sort of presentation style, I guess you might say. And I've got a lot going on in here. I know a lot of things, and that's kind of where it all started. All this started anyway, is I just kind of figured, what if I have a stroke and I'm the only one that knows any of this stuff, and so I need to share it. So that's where all this comes from. This is always going to be, whether it's Buster related or not, always going to be about updating what I'm generally doing, what's coming out, what I'm working on, how things are going in real time. That's going to be relegated to TV, movie related stuff. And since I'm like, I think maybe 4 episodes in, 3 or 4 episodes of that has started, and I haven't done a Bonanza episode yet, so I'm gonna do my first Bonanza of many, first of many, because I kind of owe the whole thing to Bonanza at this point. But that will be my my first foray into Bonanza talk. So join me for that, for just you know, a bit of knowledge that you didn't ask for. And otherwise, for this stuff, I will see you in about a month, first Thursday next month, and we will talk more then. Until then, be safe and take care of each other and make things and keep loving Buster. And I will see you guys in a month. Bye.